This is the Halting Winter podcast. I'm your host, Seth Winterhalter. Today on the podcast, how to get out of the weeds. We're talking about getting out of the weeds as a small business owner, and this is part 2. Go back and listen to part 1. The number one problem of a small business making $500,000 in annual revenue or under is that you are stuck oftentimes in the weeds of the business, in the weeds of the daily grind, and it's hard to get above that so you can correctly assess your business so that then you can create a plan and a strategy to move your business forward. Today, we're talking about frameworks. The answer to get out of the weeds is oftentimes frameworks to help the 6 parts of your business move forward. Before we jump into that, HaltingWinter is here to help small businesses overcome the specific obstacles you face so that you can get out of the weeds and you can grow your revenue. Here's the thing. Just because you're a small business does not mean that you cannot make big revenue and big profit. And we're here to help. We want you to succeed in small business because when you succeed, communities succeed. Think about that. Think about all the money that you're pouring back into the community, using other small businesses, employing people, delivering products and services to people that are making their life better. See, the local business, the small business is the fabric and the framework of a healthy community. So we just love that you're a small business owner and we want to help you succeed. So again, how do we help get you out of the weeds? That's what we're talking about today. Frameworks. We ended the podcast last week talking about the 6 parts of a business and how there's going to be two areas that you're going to be good at, 2 areas that you'll be average, that you'll be able to get the work done, but it's not super awe-inspiring or life-giving. But there's going to be 2 areas that you're weak in. In fact, they end up sabotaging you because they're massive drains, they're massive stresses, and they are just taxing you and making you want to bail on your business. How can we help you? How can we help those areas of weakness turn into areas, maybe they're not going to be strengths, but they are going to be areas that are moving forward, that actually have momentum, that actually have frameworks and structures and strategies that make them not holes in your ship that are causing it to sink. Instead, they have propellers that are pushing them forward. So that's what frameworks are. That's what I want to talk about today, are why you should strongly consider frameworks. And if you don't have framework, and we'll talk about what that is, but if you don't have, if you're like a framework, what do you mean a framework? Well, you probably don't have frameworks if you're like, I don't know what a framework is. Frameworks are this. First, they're a structure. Think about when you see a construction, when you see a high-rise building going up downtown, it has those steel girders, right? The steel frame that's keeping everything inside and keeping everything outside. It does multiple things. It has boundaries that say this is the boundaries inside, right? When we attach the glass that's going to keep the people in the working environment, and it's going to keep the birds out. If you don't have boundaries, guess what? You don't know what's in or out. And this is why this is probably the thing you need to take away from today's podcast. I work with a number of small business owners. The number one thing I see that's keeping them from real success is them saying yes to way too many things. When you have a framework, specifically a leadership framework that tells you what leadership is. So we recommend HaltingWinter, myself, Seth Winterhalter. I recommend the frameworks created by Business Made Simple. Business Made Simple is Don Miller is the CEO of Business Made Simple. Donald and his team have come up with the 6 frameworks. Simple, again, business made simple. You need your frameworks to be simple. And we follow the frameworks for 6 parts of business, right? You have a leadership, you have products, you have marketing, you have sales, you have overhead, and you have cash flow. Those are the 6 main parts of a business, and each one of those needs a framework. Each one of those needs a system and a structure to make sure that you know what to say yes to and what you need to say no to. This is extremely important in leadership. The leadership framework is this. The number one thing the leadership team needs, whether that team is a bunch of people or whether it's just you as the business owner, you need to cast a clear mission. You need to have a mission statement that you live by, and if you have employees, that they live by. A mission statement's not a vision statement. It's not, pie in the sky. One day we'll accomplish this. One day we'll be this. A mission statement is something you are rowing to right now in the next year or the next 2 years at most that you are undertaking to see growth in the business, to see success in the business. It's the number of clients, the number of products you're going to sell, the number of clients you're going to get, the number of things you're going to ship, right? Whatever that is, whatever your industry, whatever your product and service is, it's got to be something that you're going to accomplish that you can reverse engineer to see how you're going to get there, right? It can't be so pie in the sky that you're like, we're going to, if you're making $500,000 a year in annual revenue, you can't be like, well, our mission is to one day be a multi-million-dollar company. Great. Well, can you do that in a year? Can you do that in 2? Well, maybe if we win the lottery. Okay, that's not a plan, right? It needs to be real. It needs to push you to growth, but it needs to be realistic enough that you can reverse engineer it and go, okay, in this quarter we're doing this, and this quarter we're doing this, and we can actually see this. This is how it's going to scale. You can't just reverse engineer it and go, we'll just grow a little bit each quarter. How? What will you need for that growth, right? It's got to actually be reverse engineered, so then you can see, man, by this time we've got to add another salesperson. By this time, we've got to add another back-end person to make sure that product's delivered, right? It's going to tell you key things to allow you to understand the strategy. You need a clear strategy. That's why a framework will help you do that. It helps you say yes to some things and no to another. Again, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to be so tempted to be like, oh, but this opportunity came up. Is it a part of the mission? No. Then it's a no. It might be a not yet, no, but it's a no. Because this is the mission you're doing, and you can't change the mission every few months because of new opportunities. If you want to see success, you have to have boundaries. Not only you need to have boundaries for the distractions. Okay, so a structure helps set your foundation. It helps you understand the boundaries of what stays in and what stays out. It helps you set a picture of what growth looks like, right? If you put a structure in the sky, okay, that's what it looks like. That's where we're going. Now, and again, some of you may want to grow really big. You want to be a real high skyscraper. Some of you are like, no, we just want to grow this. Okay, have a vision for what you want, for what growth looks like for you, and then let's map it out. You need to know the structure you're working with so that everyone on the team, they're not deciding that for themselves. Or you, as the owner, aren't deciding that willy-nilly every time you get some new inspiration. Okay, so a framework gives a structure, but it also gives a strategy. First, that strategy needs to be we're all working together, right? Leadership, it doesn't have a mission that then the marketing team isn't following. Marketing doesn't have their own mission, and sales have their own mission. Everyone is working on the same page. Everyone is working in tandem. Everyone's using the same language or similar language. Everyone is, right? This is where a framework works. If you have framework X for sales, but framework D for marketing, man, it's going to be all over the place. Nothing's going to work together. Your teams are going to be betraying each other. Your language, customers are going to be confused. Well, I thought you said this, and now it's this, and what's going on? You want clarity. And a framework does that. That's why I love the Business Made Simple framework, is we're using the same language. You're using the same kind of story frame. The customer is the hero. You as the company are the guide. Your product is the solution to their problem, right? And that's whether you're in marketing, whether you're in sales, whether you're in product delivery, all of this is the same. It's all the same. So we're working together. We're using the same material, not different. All of the parts of our business are connected. We're rowing in the same direction. We're a team. We're not just individuals. So think about it this way. A framework gives you a structure and a strategy. The structure is the body. The structure is your business is a plane. And the strategy is, right, how do you run the race? How do you get off the runway? How do you take that plane that's a business that has, right, a cockpit and a body and wings and fuel tanks, right? All of a sudden now I understand I've got this plane with these different parts that have to work together. I don't want to put a Cessna cockpit on a 747 jumbo jet. That's not going to work. I can't put, right, Cessna wings on that 747 jumbo jet. That's not going to work. I need to figure out where my business is at, and I need to think about the different parts of my business in light of where we're at so that we're working together. So we're the right fit for the right plane so we can get off the runway, so we can soar. Without this, without frameworks, think about this. When you don't have a structure, when you don't have a strategy, you're like an amoeba. You're like a jellyfish. You're just kind of going wherever the tide takes you. And that may be why you're stressed. That may be why you're experiencing that frustration is you don't really know where you're going. It's so vague. It's so everyone kind of can fit under it. You can't be a free-flowing amoeba. No jellyfishes. And here's the problem with it. But you just never know. You never know what opportunities. We want to be free-flowing so we can take it. The problem is you think that you can go everywhere. But the problem is you're really going nowhere. Sure, you're being led by the tide, but you're not going anywhere with intentionality. So yeah, you'll get somewhere. Maybe. Or maybe you'll drown. That's the likelihood. I think this is why the majority of small businesses fail, is because instead of clarity, instead of specificity, is that a word? We're going to use it. Instead of being specific, instead of being clear and intentional, you're open to whatever because you just want to succeed. So instead of having a clear customer that you're speaking to, you're trying to speak to all customers. Instead of having a clear strategy on how you message and market and sell, you're kind of open so that you can kind of do it all. But the problem is because you're doing that, no one's paying attention. And because you're trying to soft sell, you're never closing. You need a strategy. You need a structure. What you need is a framework. And I want to be able to help you with that. We have a few ways to do that. We have the free way, which is simply take the free My Business report. It's a free assessment. It takes 10 minutes to take online. You can take that and get an idea of how your business is doing in the 6 primary parts of it. How your business is doing in leadership, in your products, in your marketing, your sales, your overhead, your cash flow. Know where you're at. Know where you're strong and know where you're weak. Know where you need to shore up. Know where you need to lean into. So you can take that. That's free. The link's below. Links in the show notes. The second thing you may consider is saying, man, I need help. I just don't know where I am. We have 2 options. We have 2 masterminds coming up. One of them is for businesses who don't know just where they're just lost. They're just like, we're just in the weeds. We're kind of drowning. We just need help. If you need kind of a revamp on all 6 parts of your business, we are going to start a mastermind here in a little bit over a month that's going to work through all 6 components of the framework. And so I'd love to chat with you and give you some insight into that and get you on the waiting list for that. If you say, you know what, we kind of have an idea of frameworks, we're actually a little bit further ahead than that. We just are stuck. We just are not growing at the speed we think we should be growing, and we need some help to come alongside and just be the shot in our arm to really get us moving. We have a mastermind it's coming up. It's going to start in April. It's called the Revenue Accelerator Mastermind, and that's what it's doing. It's focusing on 3 of those 6 frameworks. It's going to focus on your leadership. Do you have a clear and compelling mission statement? It's going to focus on marketing. Do you have a clear and compelling message that's going out to a clear customer? And it's going to focus on sales. How do you close sales? And the result of focusing on those 3 frameworks, those 3 areas of your business, is we're going to grow your business in 6 months. We're going to grow your revenue by 25% minimum. Our goal is in the year ahead is to grow your revenue by 100%, to double your revenue. And so if you're a business and you need a shot in the arm, you need to get out of the weeds and into the air, I want you to strongly consider this. I want you to go check out the website. Go to HaltingWinter, Halting, HALTING, HaltingWinter.com/mastermind. HaltingWinter.com/mastermind, and check out our Revenue Accelerator Mastermind. 10 spots are open. 10 small business owners are going to go through a 6-month mastermind, and they are going to get out of the weeds, and they are going to double their revenue. If that sounds like something you want to do, I want you to go and fill out the form, and we'll schedule an assessment call, because I only want to work with companies that I think I can actually do that. I will not invite you into it if I do not think I can double your revenue. I want you to taste success. I want you to get out of the weeds. I want you to become a successful business owner who is growing, who is scaling, who is on the way to the vision that you have set for yourself. So let's get after it. Let's make it happen. If I can do anything else for you, I'm always, you know where to find me. I'm always on the socials. I'm always out and about. Man, would just love to hear from you. Schedule a call and let's chat. Let me inspire you. Let me be inspired by you. Let's get after it, friends. Halting Winter, out.